Right now, many of us find ourselves spending a little more time than usual stuck at home.
And that means we're looking for more ways to stay busy, connect with others, and keep our minds sharp.
Learning a language happens to be a perfect hobby.
It's easy to do at home and it will give you a real sense of accomplishment.
Here are our team's best tips for language learning while stuck at home.
But first, be sure you subscribe to our channel so you never miss a new video.
My best learning tip is language immersion. Now I know what you're saying, Thomas. We just talked about how we're inside, so how can we do language immersion? But there are ways that you can do it within your very own home. For example, you can change the settings on your phone and computer. You can listen to music in the language that you're learning. You can start putting post-its on all the things that you own if you like going more old school. And what really is going to bring this from just like a little bit of a boost to really helping you out is if you start thinking and listening almost exclusively in that language. So the post-it notes could be a guide, but what you really need to do is be fully in the mindset. And by creating your apartment as some sort of language learning Thunderdome, that's what's really going to bring you to the next level. But get creative with it. There's lots of things you can do.
My best language learning tip is to learn a language while I'm cooking. Because we all have to eat anyway. So what I do is I find a new recipe online of something that I've never made before, and I find it in my target language, in my case Italian, so it's really easy to find Italian recipes. It's really fun because you get to make a lot of authentic dishes from other countries, and it helps you learn a lot of new words. Like, for example, the other day I made pizza and I learned pomodoro means tomato, formaggio means cheese. I really put to a test my language skills because I have to translate everything and make sure I do the right thing. Make sure that I don't put the wrong ingredients because it could really ruin your meal. So it is a lot of fun.
My best tip is to find an online language learning community. You don't actually have to be physically with other speakers of the language you're trying to learn that language. The internet is a great place for people to come together and use different websites to share resources, videos from YouTube, articles, whatever they can find to help each other learn new languages. I'm really partial to websites like Facebook, where you can join different groups, Reddit, where you can join different subreddits like r/language learning or r/Spanish, for example, if you're learning Spanish, r/French, the list goes on. I also really like Quora as a language learning tool. There are lots of great people on there who are just there to share knowledge with each other. And Quora has a cool feature called Spaces, which are like subreddits where you can get together and share cool finds about whatever language you're learning or just language learning tips and tricks in general.
My best learning tip lets you binge watch TV shows and binge listen to podcasts, so you're welcome. So, for instance, I've been watching Elite on Netflix in Spanish, so you change the original language to its original language, which is Spanish. And then the first time I watch it, I put on English subtitles. So as I'm watching it, I'm hearing the Spanish, I'm hearing how the language is supposed to sound, I'm picking up on that Northern Spain Castilian accent. And I'm also picking up, a lot of creative curse words in that show specifically, and some, words and phrases here and there. And then after I watch it once, I'll rewatch it, taking off the subtitles, and kind of depends. Sometimes I'll put on the Spanish subtitles because then I can really see and hear at the same time, and it helps me follow along. And I just try to understand as much of it as I can in Spanish, which I find really helpful, and it's really fun. And you can do a similar thing with podcasts. There's podcasts such as News in Slow Spanish, News in Slow French, where you can listen to news stories read at a slower speed using kind of more beginner level vocabulary and grammar, which is super helpful for beginners to make sure you're getting it. And then you can work your way up to something more like Radio Ambulante from NPR, which is full on stories in Spanish, but they do have an online transcript, so you can follow along with the English. They have, or with the Spanish transcript or with the English translation transcript. So that's super helpful for a lot of podcasts if you can find a transcript to help you follow along.
So my best learning tip is to switch it up. Make sure that you're giving yourself plenty of content to work with when you're learning something new. So there are two really key things to think about when you're trying to learn anything new, a language, a hobby, a new instrument. The first thing is making sure that you're consistent. So consistency is key. Making sure you're doing just a little bit of practice every day or every other day on some regular schedule that works for you. The other thing though is to make sure that you're keeping it fresh with new content and you're really switching up the types of content you're exposing yourself to. So with learning a language, you want to work on all four of those competencies. So reading, writing, speaking, and listening. So one day I might do a Babbel lesson and kind of get down some conversational basics. But the next day I might want to listen to a podcast that helps me listen to an actual conversation in French. Or the next day I might want to learn just some common vocabulary and write it in my language learning journal. Switching it up is really going to keep you motivated and keep you making sure you're checking in and immersing yourself in that language every single day, even when you are just stuck at home on your couch.
We hope these tips inspire you to learn something new.
If there are any other language tips that you know, you should let us know in the comments below.
And most importantly, stay sharp and stay healthy. See you soon. Hasta luego!